had to go with matcha today because I don't have coffee, as I showed you. And so I went with matcha, which is probably better. My new favorite mug. I drink out of it every chance I get. So today I'm supposed to be working. What I attempt to tell you in this clip is that I'm working on plotting today, but the baby has other ideas. So I just sit and chat with her until I can convince her somewhere else is better to be. I'm trying to make a video. Well, one of the realities of writing with little people is that little people sometimes wake up from their nap when they're not supposed to, and then mess up your bookshelf. It's fine. It's fine. I'm waiting to see if the child's gonna leave of her own free will. Okay, here's the deal. I need to be working on plotting my fantasy. Welcome. Let's start there. Welcome or welcome back if you tuned in to the earlier videos. So this is gonna start like the journey of documenting writing this fantasy trilogy that I've talked about a little bit. I, in previously videos, talked about a like romantic drama I was working on. And while that's all good and fun and I will finish it, it's not gonna be like the focus of what I'm doing. Because this is the first time in my life that I've had, like, I was homeschooling a teenager before, and she's, sorry about the knuckle pop. She's in high school now, public school, and so at this point I have more time. I have more time with the exception that I have two small people. Hold. So, because I am planning to self-publish, I feel like I want to pick a lane, and because most of my ideas are fantasy, I think that I'm going to focus on this fantasy trilogy and then like this fantasy world that I'm currently building. Isn't that so cool? Like, I sound really cool saying that, don't I? Or really nerdy, depending on who you talk to, so. I'm not gonna lie, I don't have like that whole elevator pitch where it's like Hunger Games meets Percy Jackson. I don't have that. If I'm gonna say anything, The Village meets Wheel of Time, Lord of the Rings. I'm saying that because it's like this bigger story of good versus evil. There is like a large darkness, and then there's like this force of good in the world. And when we come into the story, we are coming in with a girl named Dessa. And she lives in this village. She meets a boy from outside the village who kind of challenges everything that she believes. And there's like this big lie that they're believing, and now can she find the truth before it's too late, right? That kind of situation. But I've got to plot it because I've realized something about myself, and that's that being a pantser hasn't worked for me. I've pantsed a lot of things. I've pantsed a lot of projects in my life and have finished only a couple where I think the things that I've done the best, I plotted. So I'm actually taking a writer's course, which is this really fun community of people, and they're talking about just writing forward. Don't stop and fix things, and just keep writing forward, and then you can fix it when you revise. So my idea is that I'm going to plot out all 3 books before I start drafting it. Here's a fun side note. I had probably 40,000 words of this story drafted. And then, you know, I had it like on a flash drive, and then I woke up one morning and I went to put the flash drive in. Poof! It was gone. It's gone. Gone was that. Gone were many essays I had written. Gone were a bunch of blog posts for an old blog that I wrote that I actually really liked. Gone were poems that I had written. It was all just gone. This is like, I discovered this probably in December or January is when I discovered this. So every once in a while I remember, and then I remember what all is on it, and I kind of start to mourn all over again. Like when I first found out I was in a rain cloud, I was under a rain cloud for a few days, like, as one does. So I need you to help me plot. My idea is that I'm going to write out my general story idea, and then I'm gonna write out each book's overarching, like the thing that happens, the big thing that happens that brings us through this story arc to the very end. And in my mind, it's 3 books, but who knows? So I'm gonna start plotting that out. I have probably, let me look. Let's get the notebook. Do you wanna see my adorable notebook? I think maybe you do. Okay. So here's my notebook. Do you like how I have Dessa's world building and all of this? And then we have creatures, characters, book 2, the short stories. We've got it all. I have like 12 notebooks also. So I probably have most of Act 1 plotted out for book 1. Anyways, I'm gonna work on that today. And you're gonna come along with me. Write with me, plot with me. I think that plotting is going to make the drafting process a tons faster. And I don't want to say what my belief of like timeline of publishing this will be, but maybe after I start drafting book 1, I can have a better idea of the timeline. Here's the reality. My heart's desire would be that we publish book 1 in 2025. I don't know when in 2025. We're like mid 2024. Yeah, like I would love to be publishing that in 2025. So we got a lot of things to think about, a lot of things to do. So let's get plotting. Okay, so every time I look at the ideas that I have, I just sit here and I think, how is this all gonna fit into 3 books? Because I keep saying I want it to be a trilogy, and I think I want it to be a trilogy because I am super ADD, and my concern is that I would burn out with the same characters before I was done telling the story. And if I did a trilogy, like this big trilogy, and then if I wanted to do other trilogies within the same world, but that I would always kind of keep them to like three books, wrap everything up in 3 books, and don't try to draw it out. How am I even supposed to know all the ideas that play into it? You know what? I think I need to like put a big piece of paper that stretches and shows like a timeline to where I can write all the things. I think I'm gonna do that. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the timeline across the wall at the back part of my writing space. So that way it could be right there while I'm working. Of course,
as I start to put it up, I don't consider that I don't have any tape or scissors with me, so I go in search of tape, hoping that being an office supply hoarder and junkie will pay off. It doesn't pay off in that particular set of drawers, but then I do find some tacks in the drawer.
This is the loft. See, that's my writing space. This is the loft. It was supposed to be like a chill out and read space. It's become a collect-all space. Maybe y'all will clean my office out with me soon. And here's the finished timeline. Let's be honest, it was really hot in here, and now I'm sweating, so. Mom. Okay, I have book one plotted. Like, I have it broken down into the 3 acts, and then I have everything that needs to happen. So I have the hook, the inciting incident, the key event, the first plot point, the second act, the midpoint, the second half of the second act, the third plot point, the climax, the resolution. I'm using, where is it? K.M. Weiland's How to Structure Your Novel. And then she breaks it down like 10 steps to story structure. If you've never checked out K.M. Weiland's podcast, it's like helping writers become authors. It's so good. She has so many good resources, and this is one of them. It's a free download. And so that's been super helpful, because a lot of her episodes, she's breaking down like different movies and how there's like a formula for great stories, and how they're like paced a certain way. And so anyways, I'm using that to help structure and keep the pacing and just kind of like keep the story going. So I have the whole story plotted or outlined to have it outlined, but now I'm going through and I'm like beat by beat, breaking it down every beat within each act. And so I've plotted out, I'm basically plotting it, I'm through the first plot point. That doesn't even get me, I think that's act 1. So I've plotted out act 1. And the deal is that I'm not getting to draft it right now, but I think that plotting it out beat by beat like this and looking at the story from this perspective, I think it's gonna help the whole drafting process go a lot faster, because once I've gotten to the draft, I'll be able to see like any plot holes, or just kind of like, at least I'll have something that can be done quickly, because I'll know at every point where I'm going, because that's part of the problem with being a pantser. Like I have before, I've sat down to write, and then half the times I'm like, okay, what happens next? And then I'm stuck. So it's a lot. We'll see how this goes with my brain. Oh, there's a pen. That happens a lot. Anywho, thanks for plotting with me today. If you're want to follow along on this journey, tune in, because I'll be giving regular updates. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe if you want to follow my journey. Please do. This helps me be accountable. So let's go. Also, I need y'all to help me come up with like a working title. Right now I'm calling this Project Fantasyland. I don't know how much I like that. Anywho.